Hey there, I'm your host Zoe, and this is part 4 of our equipment system series. In today's video, we'll be creating the inventory. So with that said, let's begin. We'll start by going into the content drawer, and in here, we want to create a new structure for our inventory. So I'll do this in equipment data. I just organized all of my stuff here. We'll right click, go to blueprint and create a new structure. Let's call it s_item slot. Let's open this up. And in here, we want two variables. We want an item ID, which is going to be the row name. And we then want a item quantity. And we'll do integer. Let's save that. And then what we want to do is we want to create a component for our inventory. So let's right click, go to blueprint class, actor component, and we call it BPC or blueprint component underscore inventory. Just like so. And let's open this guy up. In here then, we want to set up our variables. We'll have a S, or what this will be our inventory slots. Let's do s_item slot. We then want to have our inventory size, which is going to be a simple integer. Okay, so next what we want to do is we want to get a hold of all the items in our database. Now, normally with an inventory system, you'd have a function that allows you to do that. So you'd walk around, pick your items up, and you'd have them. Now, I do have an inventory system series on the channel, but for anybody new here, we don't have that functionality. So somehow we need to get those items to our inventory slots here. So just to show you, we'll be converting every single row in here to those inventory slots that you can see right there. Let's create a function for that. We'll do equipment to items. That will be the name. And we'll do get row, get data table row names, plural. So every single row represents this represents every single row in this database. And we'll do a for each loop, like so. We then would be actually a good idea to convert this to a variable. We'll need it in a moment. So equipment items, let's call it. Get rid of it for now. Just want it there. And for each loop, what we'll do is we'll do a get row as you would with your item IDs. So these are item IDs of our equipment. And we'll do equipment data table there. And we'll do a break. In here, we just want the image. So let's hide everything and just the image. We then want to see if this is not equal to our non-image, like so. Do a branch, because of course we don't want any non-items to show up in our inventory. And if this is true, if they're not equal to that, we'll get our items like so. And we'll do add unique, like that. And the item that we'll add will be the item ID from this array element right here. So drag it in there. We'll reroute it to see again more clearly what's happening, keeping our code clean. Very good practice. All right, so that's that. Then at the end, when all of this has been completed in here, we'll do a return. And we want to return our array of all the items that classified to be valid to go into our inventory system. So let's compile and save that. Let's then go back into our event graph and let's quickly create a new function called print inventory, just to display all the slots on the screen and stuff. So we'll grab our inventory slots and we'll do a for each, this should be a array. That's my bad. Yep, change the variable type and we'll let it do its thing. Okay, so we'll do for each loop into there. And then I want to do a print string and we'll append this here and we'll get all of the stuff we want. So we'll have 5 pins. we'll do a break. We'll get our item ID and the item quantity. So A will be the index. This doesn't have to be clean. We'll do double colon space. This will be the item ID. We'll do space equals space. And at the end, we'll do item quantity. So that's that. And that's all we need. So let's compile and save. And we'll give this a key to activate on. So keyboard, let's say 1. And we'll do print inventory. Now, of course, we need to add this component to our player character as well. But on event begin play, before we go ahead and add that, we want to do equipment to items, like so. And we'll do a for each loop. And then we'll do a break. Not break. We'll do, we need this. And we'll do set. No, we'll do add. Like so. It doesn't have to be unique. And from this blue pin, we'll do a make. And we want this to go into here, like so. The loop body will go here. And for the item quantity, you can just set it by 1 on default. So each of them will have a value of 1. And on completed, we'll grab this and we'll resize it. So resize, like so. And the size here will be our inventory size. So if you have a lot of items like me, make sure to give this a big value. We'll be setting this in our player character, so we don't have to set it there. But that's all here for now, I believe. Let's bring this up. And let's go to our player character and add this component to them. So third person, open this up. And BPC for blueprint component, inventory. And we have it here. So inventory size, I'll do something like 45 slots, should be plenty. And yeah, let's compile and save. And if we go to play, we should print all of the stuff we have in our inventory. So let's see that. Press 1 and boom, we get every single item that's valid to be in the inventory. So it's not empty. And then we get our remaining empty slots, which I believe there's like 10 or something or so. Okay, nice. So next we'll go ahead and display this on our screen instead of just having the print string. So let's open our content drawer, go to our equipment system, UI, and we'll create a new slot, which will be our inventory slot. So WB underscore inventory slot. Let's open this up. And once again, we'll do a size box of your choice. Now I'll do 60 as previous and desired. This is what we get. Right. Next, we want to grab ourselves a button as we would. So we won't be having any functionality in this inventory system, but if you wanted to add it, it's right there. So the systems are compatible. Button, and we'll name it our inventory slot, like so. And what I want to do now is for style, we'll do 0 and we'll do 0 here. And opacity, we'll just change that to 0, like so. Okay, next we want to grab a border. This will be our frame. So size that up fully, no padding. And what we can do then is for the color, I have it saved here. So let me grab that, copy that. And once again, if you want it, it's right here, 5F828 AFF. And we'll do then another border with a padding this time of 2. And for this guy, what we'll do is grab that color again, or a different color, right here, paste that in. So this is what we get, 252 E30FF, and press OK. Right, so with this, I'll then go ahead and add a overlay to my last border. Let's say padding 0. And to this overlay, we want to add an image. This will represent the item in our inventory. So let's fill it full and let's name it IMG underscore inventory slot or inventory item, whichever you prefer. On top of this, then we want to add a size box on the overlay. and this will be in the corner. So right align horizontally and bottom align vertically. And let's give it a size, let's say of 10 should do. And in here, we'll just have a text. So let's change this to be invisible for now. So we see the number text, plug it in there and change the padding to be 8 or so. And we'll just give it 0, align it in the middle, maybe on the appearance here, like so. And I'm happy with that. Maybe even do some padding at the bottom of like 0.1. This one too. 2. No, I'll leave it as that. Okay. So let's compile and save that. In the graph then, what we want to do is on event construct, we'll grab that. And once again, we want our item ID. So name, instance editable, and expose on spawn. So drag this in. We'll do get row, get data table row, plug in our data table. Once again, break this open. And this time we want to know the item amount. So take this true, and we want to know the image. And we'll grab our image. There we are. And we'll do set brush from texture, row found. We'll do that. And the texture will be the image we have here. Okay. With that then, we want to do the same thing for our text. So this should be variable. And let's give it a proper name, txt underscore item quantity. So in here, drag this and do set text like so. Drag that there. And this will go into here. And it converts it for you. And at the very end, we'll grab our overlay. So if there is nothing in the actual item, make this variable, just the background will show up. So go to the event graph, grab your overlay, and we'll do set visibility to be visible if we found it. Now, if we have not found it, what we'll do is we'll set this to be collapsed, like so. And that's all we have to do for now. So let's compile and save that. So now let's go ahead and create our inventory widget. So in our UI of the equipment system, we'll create a new widget, and this will be our WB underscore inventory. And let's open it up. In here, what we'll do is we'll grab ourselves a border, like so. And I want to make the opacity of this to be none, so 0, like that. Then what I'll do is add a vertical box to it, like this, with a padding, let's say, of, we can do 10. Or let's even do 0 and we'll see how it looks in a moment. And then in here, we'll do a horizontal box. We want 2 of these. So we'll do 1 and 2. And let's fill them. And at the very top, of course, we don't want this to be full or 1. We'll do like 0.05. And this is for our filters, if we have any. And right. So let's quickly go ahead and add a border to our bottom horizontal box. Let's actually name these. We'll do box underscore buttons with an S. And, oh, that's the wrong box. Oh, no, it's not. Box underscore inventory. Nice. Okay. So with this then, we'll do fill. And this is our background. So, or even frame, border frame. And I'll get the color I have saved here. Copy that. And we'll paste it into here. There it is. If you want it, press OK. We then will grab a second border. And this border here will have a padding of 10. Now for the color, once again, have it saved here. So if you want it, it's right there. Okay. And that's that. Now we'll do a gradient on this, but just before we do, we'll add some buttons. So they won't be usable, so it doesn't really matter to me. as much about the functionality. So let's do text as well in it, or no text necessary. Yeah, so that's button 1. I'll just paste it a few times. 5 buttons. We'll do fill, and let's do a padding of 10, maybe 5 between each. And let's give them a color as well. So might as well just save this here. Select all of the buttons we have. And yeah, mess around with this a little bit. Something like that. Make it more interesting than it is. And press OK. Right, so we then want to, before we add the gradient actually, we want to add a scroll box onto here. Just in case you run out of space on the screen, we can scroll down, adding 0. And let's do a wrap box in which all of our icons will be. Just like that, and we'll fill. That's filled, yeah. Okay, and we can make this variable, and let's name it wrapbox underscore inventory. And for the scroll box, I believe we don't need anything. Okay, so that's that. Let's quickly go ahead and create our gradient. So let's open up our content drawer, and we'll go to MUI, and let's create a new material called M underscore wardrobe gradient 2. And let's open that up, do surface to user interface and blend mode to translucent. We'll then right click and grab ourselves a linear gradient. And from the V gradient, we'll do 1 minus, and we'll plug this into our final color. And we get a result, something like this. Let's apply and save that. So that if we go back into our inventory and click on the border here, let's name it background. And let's give it a brush of our gradient 2. There we are. And boom, a much interesting looking inventory. Let's compile and save this, and let's head over to the event graph. In here, we're interested in the pre-construct. So what we'll do is we want to add an inventory component like we had in the inventory system. So I'm just making the system compatible for anybody that followed that series. So we'll do ppc underscore inventory. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do ppc underscore inventory object reference, instance editable, and expose on spawn. Okay, so that's that. And we then want to grab this and check if it is valid. If it is valid, well then we'll grab our items, what do I call them? Inventory slots. That's what I call them. Okay, so we'll do a for each loop like that. And with this, we then want to break this open. And we want access to our item ID, because we'll do create widget, which will be our inventory slot widget, inventory slot, and we want the item ID. Now, of course, if you don't see the item ID here, you want to go back into your widget and make sure this is instance editable and expose on spawn. Right, so back in here, at the very end, we want to grab our wrap box and do add child to wrap box is what we want. Like so. Okay. And just to go over everything, making sure it's fine. Yeah, that's good. We then want a way to refresh this if we ever had to. So we'll do a custom event and do refresh inventory. And what we want to do is we just want to set this component in here and then clean everything we had here previously so they don't stack. So we'll do clear children. And then we'll plug this into here. Okay. So that's all we have to do. Let's compile and save this. Let's then open up our wardrobe widget. So wardrobe widgets right here. And on the right column, what we'll do is we'll go in here and type in inventory. We should get our widget blueprint inventory, drag it in, make it fill. And in the graph, what we want to do on the event graph here, let's do it after the mouse cursor has been set. Another thing that actually came to my head we could do is for the player name, where do we have this? Player name. There we are. We'll do set text for the player. And after this, we'll refresh our inventory. So let's quickly get hero. And this has access to our get player name. Throw it in there. And for the inventory, what we'll do is from the hero, we'll do get component by class, which is our inventory component, bpc underscore inventory. Now, of course, we still need to add it to our player. Or did we? I think we did. Yeah, we did. Okay, that's good. So then we'll do is valid. Good to check. And at the very end, we'll just do refresh. We want to grab, where's this? This guy. Do refresh inventory like so. And the component is right here. And let's connect this to our remaining code and compile and save everything. And if we test it, it should work. So let's see, and boom. Every item that's supposed to be here is going to be here. Now, all the empty slots are the items that couldn't go in there. Now, I think even if they did, like we had 8 slots in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So technically you only need 42 slots if you wanted to add them in there. So that's that. In the next video, we'll be covering our wardrobe inventory, but that's all for today. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And as always, happy developing.